What's up guys, we're a week away from iOS 13 and today I wanted to talk to you about that, some 2019 iPhone stuff and even 2020 iPhone stuff thanks to a new report from Barclays. Now yes, we haven't even seen the new iPhones yet and we're already dreaming about the ones beyond that, but realistically that's the huge upgrade. This is still a stopgap until we get to that redesign, USB-C, 5G, the 3D sensing cameras and all that, so a lot of exciting things. And yeah, we're gonna start today with this High Snob Society post. Apparently, me and the Bro King leaked the iPhone 11, and yeah, we definitely did not. We created this out of renders. Anyways, so let's start with that Barclays report by Blaine Curtis. They actually visited Asia, talked to Apple suppliers, and from this, they formulated an idea of what they're doing for the 2019 and 2020 release. Now, I seem to be repeating a lot of information. I'm just saying it from different sources. Everyone has their own take on things, and new features get added in between. So let's start with this. The 2020 iPhones apparently are returning to Touch ID. Yes, full screen Touch ID through the acoustic method. This wouldn't be through the pinhole method we saw in a patent earlier last week, but it really becomes clear why Apple is actually hoarding all of these patents with Touch ID. So at one point or another, it may return to the new iPhones. Barclays seems to think it will happen in 2020. Now, I don't know if that's going to be a good thing, if replacing Face ID with Touch ID Generation 3 will be awesome, but I'm sure whichever way Apple does it, they will justify their means. Now, they did confirm that the 3D sensing camera is arriving to the 2020 iPhones through a laser sensing system. Now, this would be used to scan items, quickly create a 3D mock-up, 3D model from that camera, and Sony is producing sensors that are 3D sensing capable. Apparently Apple pushed that back from 2019 to the 2020 iPhones, as this year we're just getting the ultra wide camera. Very interesting changes, and you can see that Apple is carefully focusing on the 2019 iPhones as a stopgap to get to the ultimate iPhone in 2020. And the report also does mention that 3D touch is dying on this year's iPhones, apparently to be replaced by haptic touch on all iPhones. It's sad to see it go, but we heard earlier that the actual screen technology will be changing and they will not have a 3D layer in between. So haptic touch is probably here to stay, like on the iPhone XR where you hold it and then the 3D touch pop-ups come up. That's basically what it's being replaced with. And my other source, Max Weinbach, actually confirmed that 5G and the time-of-flight 3D camera system will be happening on the 2020 iPhones. So that's one thing that many analysts are agreeing on, is 5G is absolutely happening. We are getting that 3D sensing camera. What else? Well, the redesign, apparently. This is going to be the third year in a row where we have that rounded iPhone design. So the 2020 iPhone could change, and I'm assuming it'll go in the direction of the iPad Pros, because in my opinion that's the ultimate peak iPhone design, is the boxy design. And what else? USB-C is rumored to happen, the 5nm A14 chip will be available by then, and the 6.1-inch iPhone is getting an organic LED display as well. And while we're on the topic of the future, I wanted to pull this from an earlier report by Bloomberg. iOS 14 is being worked on, as Apple works on projects years in advance of release, and apparently Azul is a code name of it. It's going to focus on AR capabilities and 5G support. That's the primary improvements in iOS 14 that we know of right now. They did briefly touch on the iPhone SE 2 as well. They said that the iPhone SE 2 will be housing the iPhone 8 internals, and we heard a couple things about this before. Now, this is another source also mentioning that the iPhone 8 is returning for 2020. Now, what could this mean? I personally think it means a 4.7 or 4.8-inch display, like we heard earlier, that'll be an all-screen display housed in a housing very similar to the older iPhone SE. This is a dream device. I love the setup. I wish Apple did go through with it. But from what we're hearing, the iPhone SE lineup has not been forgotten and will be returning in 2020. And as for 2019 iPhones, they say that there are very few design changes happening. From what we know, just the triple lens camera and that mute switch. Otherwise, mostly unchanged in the design department. 2020 is the one that's going to be getting the major redesigns. And I wanted to show you that soft touch backing. It's very hard to put it into visuals for you, but we found a way with a different source of light in the background. It looks amazing. Now, in a new report today by Mactakar, they're saying that dual audio is coming to the iPhones, where you'll be able to stream one music source to separate sources of audio, such as a pair of AirPods and Power Beats, at the same time using the new iPhone. Now, it's unclear how this may be achieved. If it's through Bluetooth 5.0, that means older iPhones can get this feature as well, such as the 10, 10s, 10R, and iPhone 8 series. And like clockwork, the iPhone 11 models have been registered through the Eurasian Regulatory Committee. Here we can see that Apple is working on a number of of new iPhone 11 models, in case you were doubting those were being released. Now, here's a thought. How can Apple make iPhone 11 more exciting? I think that they should work with the colors. Instead of releasing just the boring silver, gold, and space gray, they should work on some gradients like Huawei's been working, like many other Asian brands have been working on, and I pictured some of those for you here in these renders. Let me know what you think. These were inspired by the OnePlus series. They did a fantastic job with the OnePlus 7, and just the way they've been working on the finishes is top notch. And some iOS 13 stuff. So Alvaro Pabesio has actually created the best iOS 13 concept I've seen so far, and I wanted to share that with you in some of our renders. Now, this doesn't do the concept justice. I'd say visit the link down below because he goes into detail on many of the actual rumors we've heard about iOS 13 and beyond that. So everything from the user interface to the applications to the way you navigate and use your device, mouse support on the iPad and dark mode, better control center, everything. So do check that out. Some beautiful work as usual by Alvaro Pabesio. Also, AppleTLD has shared several screenshots with me. Here's one of the lock screen and improvements you can make to the notification system. Make them more like the Apple Watch series and be able to customize those toggles on the bottom of the newer iPhones. And the most exciting takeaway of this video is that Apple is adding a calculator to the iPad. Now, this wouldn't be a full screen application according to Max Weinbach, just a slide over from the control center, just a little pop-up screen. Even that is an improvement. At least there will be one on the iPad. It just doesn't make sense Apple's logic behind adding or not adding certain applications to the iPad. Now, he says this may be removed by launch, so we may not even see it. And according to The Elec, in conversation with industry sources, they say Apple is looking at bringing organic LED displays to their MacBook lineup, and not only that, to the 11-inch iPad. They didn't mention the 12.9-inch, just the 11-inch iPad. And that would be very unusual. We heard that they would be going straight to micro LED, but a stopgap at organic LED could make sense. So Apple could be introducing a completely new screen technology in their MacBooks, and they said that they're going to start with the 16-inch MacBook Pro. So that redesign that we heard about earlier, that would be benefiting from this new technology first. We'll see what happens, but once you get into a larger display territory, it's just a little hard to ensure quality on an organic LED display and longevity. I feel like there would be burn-in issues and just, I don't know, we'll see how Apple handles it. And iOS 12.3.1 was released, in case you didn't know, just a couple bug fixes here, nothing huge, but fixes an issue that could prevent you from making voice over LTE calls and a couple issues with iMessage and filtering and unknown senders. So do update if you're on 12.3. Everyone could use some bug fixes in their life. And if you're on a jailbreak, of course, do not. But the coolest development from the jailbreak recently that I've seen is Maple. It allows AirPower to live on in your jailbroken device. So check this out. This is an iPhone XR. These animations are device dependent, but basically you pop it on here, you get that AirPower animation. It looks amazing. Kind of buggy, but I love the fact that AirPower lives on, at least like this. You know, if I was Apple, I would release a wireless charger and have an animation included very similar to this. That'd just be a nice way to send off AirPower into the afterlife, but still keep the animations from it. And by far, the biggest change happening to the 2019 iPhones will be the camera lens. As I showed you in my last video, and now Sonny Dixon shares again, the camera lens on the iPhone 11 is getting insanely big. I'd say about 2.5 times larger than that of the 10 and 10s series. So the case that he shared is a third-party manufacturer's case. Anyone can build one of these right now. The leaked CAD models are out for the iPhone 11, and it really does put into perspective how much bigger this lens is getting. I know that everyone hates it, but it's logical. Like, do you want better camera quality? You're going to need better sensors. And to get better sensors and still keep it somewhat compact, I mean, this is one of Apple's solution of many. I think it's the best one, better than the Bender phone that we've seen. So yeah, the camera lens is getting ridiculously big, but of course you're going to get the same in return with camera quality. Also, an interesting study performed by Jamf, they're saying that 71% of college students prefer Macs. This is for a variety of reasons, but overall, design-wise, usability, ease of use, continuity between devices is what keeps people coming back to the Mac. And the latest updates with the 2019 MacBook Pros shows performance-wise, Apple is certainly on top of their game. We're seeing an increase of 29% in the multi-threaded performance, and in the single-core score, just 10%. The last thing I wanted to touch on is Huawei in China. The actual CEO himself is defending Apple, saying they're like a teacher, and that he would be first in line to protest if they were banned in China, if they did any retaliatory action against Apple for banning Huawei. It's not like they did it themselves, but I'd be very surprised to see how that goes down if it happens. And apparently Apple would stand to lose 29% profit if that were to happen. So crazy times ahead. All right, guys, there it is. Just a week to go until iOS 13. Man, I'm excited. I cannot wait to see what Apple's been cooking for us because this is long overdue. A lot of the features we're going to be getting in iOS 13 we should have had long ago. And it looks like this is the year where Apple finally plays catch up and gives us all those features we've been asking for them for years. So stay tuned, guys. 1 week to go. Peace.